Okay, I thought I'd give a sneak peek of our two-wheel drive Sur-Ron. So we've been working on this in the background for some time. Now, why would we develop a two-wheel drive? Well, the Sur-Ron's pretty good off-road, but where it fails is extremely steep hills. The wheelbase is too short, and just to illustrate, I drew some sketches. Basically, steep hill, you're either going to flip over or you're going to lose traction. And that's pretty well what happens. So it's really difficult to get that balance between not wheel standing and not sliding or not spinning out. So thought we'd have a go at building a two-wheel drive to see what difference it would make. Now, essentially we've kept the stock controller, stock battery, running a 54 tooth sprocket, running standard tyre as well. It's probably about 10 pounds pressure, which gives it a little bit more traction. On the front we've got a golden tyre, which is a specialist enduro tyre. It's fairly soft, trying to get maximum traction on the front. So the advantages of two-wheel drive, several advantages. So the idea is that you want to try and get up steeper hills. Because it's got an additional battery, we can get a little bit further on the range. One of the big advantages though is on a dirt bike or on a motorbike, you mainly use the front brake. So what we're trying to do is recapture a lot of the lost energy by regen braking on the front. So you would use your front brake quite often and trying to capture that energy, and when you get into a tricky spot, then you can use the front wheel drive to get you out. Now, does it improve 100%? No. It's very difficult to get traction on the front because as soon as you accelerate, the front gets lighter. Lighter front, less traction. So it doesn't give you 100% extra boost up a hill, but it does help quite a bit, and I've done some videos just to show the difference a little bit later. Especially where it's beneficial is if you get stuck. So if you're stuck on the side of a hill and you try and restart with normal rear wheel drive, extremely difficult to get going. You're either going to break traction, again flip, or it will just stop. It just won't have the torque to pull it. And that's where the front wheel drive helps. It just gives you that extra boost to get going. So on the steepest hills, there is an advantage. I found the biggest advantage is when you get stuck. You can even get off and walk up the hill with the front wheel drive as well, and the amount of energy that saves is amazing. So what we're trying to develop is a serious off-road bike, something that will compete with the gas bikes in extreme enduro. Now on an open fire trail, the Sur-Ron's not going to keep up, to a KTM or a gas or some full competition bike. But in the single trails and in the really tight stuff, they're pretty good. So a few modifications that help. Obviously we've done a few. To give you an idea on this particular bike, other than the shorter gearing, basically one advantage is the high riser. Now that helps us to put the weight further forward and up. When your arms are down low, you tend to get more of a tank slapper. So having the bars up and you're in the position where you can control it better, you don't get the shake as much, and also gives you more room to move around, and that's really what you need on a dirt bike. You need to be able to move backwards and forwards really quickly. Other than that, we've just put some normal protection and so on. But the front wheel drive, let's talk a bit more about that. This is only a sneak peek. I don't want to go into all the details at this stage, but we're adding about 2 kilowatts of power, around 100 newton meters of torque. If you try and ride the front wheel only, it will pull you along quite okay, but it's far better if you use both together. Now, what we're working on at the moment is we're trying to get a balance between when to use the front wheel drive and when not to use the front wheel drive. So you don't want the front wheel drive all the time. That's just going to burn battery. No real advantage. But where you need it is those short bursts, maybe accelerate out of a corner, steep hill, get stuck. So what we're trying to develop, is it better to be able to use it when you want it, or are we able to program it so that it comes on when you need it? Now that's a little bit trickier. So at this stage we're not quite ready to release it to see if anyone wants to buy it. We're just trying to develop it a bit further. We want it spot on before we get it out there. But definitely is an advantage in the extreme stuff. It's worth exploring. It does have limitations. Obviously we can't put too much power on the front. You're just not going to get the traction and you lose control. So it's crazy. So it's really there just to get you through those really tough spots, recapture that energy, give you that bit more confidence, and maybe get you past a few more of those gas dirt bikes, which would be great. So really good bike. This thing has had a beating. Seriously, it's had a beating. I've come off this thing so many times, dumped it down hills, up hills, it's fallen over, flipped over. Strong little bikes. Obviously I've got a few more things I forgot to mention. We've got this race Spec Sur-Ron foot brace on there, got wide grip foot pegs. We've got our mud flap on here. This one's slightly a lighter version. The production version's quite thick, it's 4.5mm, very stiff. Got the longer rear guard. We've got the grabs on here, and we're working on a few other things too, which we'll release soon. We've got a stack of ASIs up there that we've been working on for the controllers. But at this stage, we're just trying to make the the standard Sur-Ron as good as it can be, to get it out there so that people can just have a lot of fun. They're a really good bike. Okay, I'm on a Sur-Ron X. What I'm going to do is a bit of a hill test at the moment. It's about 20 degrees Celsius. This is a rather steep hill. The Sur-Ron doesn't always get up it, so it tests its maximum ability. So I'm going to get a bit of runoff, and after this I'm going to do a run with a two-wheel drive. Okay, we're going to do a hill run test. Getting a fair bit of runoff. This is a very tricky hill. Not only is it loose, it's steep, it has turns, and obviously it's very difficult to tell with a GoPro how steep it is. If you tried walking it, you'd understand. So it don't always make it up this hill. You either lose traction or you flip it. Alright, we're stuck. So that's as far as I'm going to get on this run. But if I have a second run halfway back, I usually get it up here. So we'll try and inch this around, head back down to this little pocket. We'll do another run from here. All right, you can see it's quite slippery. All right, let's go. Try and get the traction. Oh my goodness. No. Okay. Steep. All right. Okay. Spin this around again. Okay, I'm doing a test on the race Spec Sur-Ron standard controller. I've got front wheel drive or two wheel drive. I'm not going to engage it straight away. Okay. Yes, beautiful. And we're flying. Woohoo! Oh, it's nasty. Come on, baby. Ah. All right. It's always hit and miss with this hill, whether you can get up or not. The front wheel drive certainly gave it a boost, but traction is always a problem. 50-50. Squeaky damn brakes. Okay, let's see how we go from a standing start. Alright, front wheel drive, two wheel drive Sur-Ron test. Big stinking hill. Okay, and ready, go. Weight forward, front wheel spinning. Yes, really actually. Oh, come on, you can do it. You can hear the front wheel just losing traction, trying to keep the weight over the front, but definitely gives it a boost. Would get stuck. Definitely get stuck if it was rear wheel drive only. Okay, this hill tests the Sur-Ron to its limits. Never actually been able to get up this hill. It's just really nasty. Traction. I can get a fair way up, but I get to a certain level and that's it. Stuck. So here's the issue. Trying to get up further. Traction. Traction is a real issue. Okay. Got to inch your way up. Brake on. Accelerate. Brake on. Inch your way up. That's it. Stuck. So here's the issue. Trying to get up further. Traction. Traction is a real issue. Just inch your way up. Brake on. Alright. Brake on. Inch your way up. Brake on. Brake on. Inch your way up. Brake on. Inch your way up. And we're up. Tell you what, that's a workout and a half though. So in a hard enduro, that's the sort of thing you're going to have. So what I'm going to do now is try the same with two-wheel drive. See what the difference is. So I'll head down. Oh, bad start. See what we can do, see if we can recover this. Oh, slipping, stopping. See if we can get going again. Front wheel drive engaged. Come on, buddy. All right, here's the difference. We got to about the same point as before, but what's the difference with front wheel drive? Getting up here. Alright, here's the difference. We got to about the same point as before, but what's the difference with front wheel drive? Getting up here. So much easier. And there's the difference.